Good morning, mathematicians. Welcome to another day at Home with APS. We're going to start again with our calendar routine, which we've been doing all this week. And so can you go ahead and say out loud the name of the month that we are in right now? June, that is right. Good for you for remembering that. So we have June written up here at the top of our calendar. And we came to talk yesterday about it being Tuesday. So the day after Tuesday is Wednesday. So today is Wednesday. And we're going to count a little bit to see if we can figure out what number today is. So we have been counting from last Monday, the 15th, and we'll count from there to see what today should be. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's right. Let me get my blue marker out to write 24. How do I write 24? What digits do I use? A 2 and a 4. That's right. Now let's look at our pattern that we have with our numbers. We have a green triangle and then 2 red circles. A green triangle and then 2 red circles. A green triangle, and then here we have 1 red circle. So what do we need to put around this number? Right, another red circle. All right. So we already said that today is what day of the week? Wednesday, exactly. So if today is Wednesday, then what was yesterday, the day before this day? Yesterday was Tuesday, exactly. Yesterday was Tuesday, and so then what will tomorrow be? Tomorrow is going to be Thursday. You're exactly right. Getting a little closer to the weekend. A lot of times they call Wednesday the middle of the week hump day. Maybe you've seen those commercials with the camel. So we're at hump day today. It's Wednesday. All right, let's add a dot to our frame representation of 24. So we know this is 24 because this is a full frame. So that's 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, and here is 24. All right. Today's number, let's try that. So, let's see. Nope, I'm not quite showing up. Let's see if we can. It's not the location, is it? Is it down here? And I have to go to the pen. Here we go, I've got it. All right, and I think I will leave it in that smaller. So what was today's number? 24, and you already told me how to write that. A 2 and a 4. And now we're going to come up with some different representations for 24. If you haven't yet, you could get a piece of paper. Just pause the TV so that you can get one if you don't have one. Take it and fold it in half, and then in half again, right? And you'll end up with 4 spots on your page, just like I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could write 24 right in the middle, and then you can do some representations right along with me, okay? Let's see, we have used tally marks. Shall we use tally marks again? Sure, why not? Let's do tally marks. They come in what kind of a group? Groups of 5, exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. How many groups of 5 do we have inside of 24? 1, 2, 3, 4. We almost have 5 groups. Tomorrow, I think we'll have 5 groups if we use tally marks again, won't we? All right, how else could we show 24? The first day we tried this, we wrote out the number word for 24. Maybe we should try that again. So 20 is spelled this way, T-W-E-N-T-Y. And then you use a hyphen, and then you put in the second digit, 4. Whoop. So that's another way we could represent 24. We have been doing some number sentences for our numbers, haven't we? I was also thinking that we could show 24 on a number line. Earlier this week, I think it was earlier this week or it was last week, Miss Carnes was doing a number line with you all, and you were placing numbers on that. So if we had a number line, and I put 0 on one end of it and 50 on the other end of it, I wonder where 24 would go on this number line. What's right in half of 50? Does anybody know? Do you know? 25, right. It's like 1/4 and 2/4 when we were talking about money. That helps me figure out where 24 would go, right? Because 24 would be right in front of 25. So I could put 24 right in front of 25. So that's probably where it would go on a number line. And then if I wanted to, I could get rid of my 25. Since really we're just trying to show 24. So it would be almost in the middle, wouldn't it? All right, and what if I wanted to write a number sentence that went with that? I want my number sentence to equal 24. So if I had 50 and I took something away from it, I want it to end up leaving me with 24. What do I have to take away? This piece here, right? Well, we knew that up to this part was 25, and then it was one more back to 24. So I could take away 26, 25 plus one more, and that would give me 24. So there's a different number sentence for us using subtraction. You got to see if you've been making your own today's number chart, if you can come up with some other ways to write number sentences that equal 24. Let's fill out our hundreds chart for 24. So if we put 24 in the middle box, what comes right after 24? 25, we've already talked about that because of our number line, haven't we? All right, what then comes right before 24? We could look at our calendar and see that, right? 23 is right before 24. If we take 10 away and move up a box on our hundreds chart, we would have 14. And then if I'm thinking about adding 10s going down, 14, 24 comes after the 20s, the 30s. So it would be 34. Ooh, that's kind of a funky little 3 I made, isn't it? There we go. All right, so our today's number chart is filled out for 24. Let's go ahead and count from 24. So we're going to locate 24 on our hundreds chart. I know it's going to be in the row that has all the last digit with 4, right? And then I'm going to go to the row where there are 20s. And there it is, 24. Today, let's just count by ones with 24. So let's start together at 24, and we'll just count maybe 10 more numbers from there. Count with me. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. I know that's 10 more numbers because it's right underneath 24 on the hundreds chart, huh? We pretty much just counted around from here back to that spot that we had on today's number. Let's try a different number. What if we start at the end of the row with 40? Count with me. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. That's that tricky spot. Comes after 49. It's changing families, huh? All the 40s start with a 4. And when we get to these 9 numbers, you guys played a game with Miss Carnes about that, it changes to the next family. And so it goes from having a 4 in front to having a 5 for 50, 40, 50. All right, nice counting. Let's go ahead now and read one of our puzzles. All right, we did the umbrellas yesterday. So today we're going to do the page called Shell Game. The sun is rising on the farm. Cows are sitting, no, not sitting. Cows are stirring in the barn. The pigs are rolling in the muck. In the coop, the chickens cluck. How many chicks have hatched today? Ooh, this is our question. How many chicks have hatched today? To find a clever way, remember with these rhymes, we have to figure out a clever way. We just can't count by ones. To quickly count this chirping batch, subtract the one that's yet to hatch. Well, we have 3 rows of 3. So 3, 6, 9. And if we take 1 away, then that means we must have 8. The other thing that this reminds me of, do you see the chicks are around the outside? If you know dominoes, that looks like a domino pattern. I think Miss Carnes is going to do some domino patterns with you. So there are 8 hatched chicks in our puzzle today. All right. We have one vocabulary word to add to our vocabulary chart. From yesterday. This came from the book that we read at the end of the day, and we were talking about number sentences. We were talking about 12 ways to get to 11, and we were writing number sentences. And so this is the equation. This was the first equation that we worked with. 9 plus 2 was one way to equal 11. The numbers that you're adding together are called add-ins. So we have a 9 as an add-in and 2 as an add-in. What we get when we put them together is called the sum. So 11 was the sum of all our equations yesterday, wasn't it? And then this whole number sentence is called an equation. So we're going to add that to our vocabulary chart. Tomorrow, we're going to play a game with some of our vocabulary words, so that will be fun. All right, I think that we have just a few minutes that we could maybe review some of our 10-frame patterns before we move on to the activity Miss Carnes has for you. I think I'm going to take a few of these out, and we'll start with this. Remember, our frames have 10 boxes. How many dots did you see on that frame? What do you think? Did you say 9? There's 5 on this row, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or another way to think about it is there's 1 missing from the 10, kind of like our chick puzzle in the book. Let's try another one. Gotta find a good one. What did you see? Did you say 5? You're right. How did you know that? Did you know that because there was only 1 full row and these were all missing? Clever. All right, here's our last one. What did you see? Did you say 6? You'd be right, because it was 1 more than the 5 that we just looked at, didn't we? All right. Nice checking in on our patterns. We'll keep working with these guys until we know them all and know how to make 10. And now Miss Carnes is going to come out and do an activity.
Good morning, kiddo.
Your microphone on. That helps you to hear me, doesn't it? Okay, guys. We are going to do an activity with dominoes. I'm going to just take a minute to turn on our document camera. Let's see. No. I wish you guys were here to help me. I think we've got it, though. Terrific. Okay. So, before we start, we're going to do a little bit of review from yesterday. So, that's where we'll want those to be. Yesterday, we took a look at dot patterns, and then we played a game, a matching game with dot patterns. So let's just take a look at a few of those again for a review and to kind of get us warmed up today. Ready? Okay, we'll start with one that's very recognizable. That's right, just one dot there, right? Okay, how many here? Did you say 4 dots? How'd you know? Did you see 2 and 2? That's a good way to know that it's 4. We can also think about what that might look like on our fingers, can't we? How many here? 3. 3 is one that a lot of times we can just see that there's 3. We don't have to do a lot of thinking about it. How about this one? How many dots did you see? Did you say 5? You're right. You might have known the pattern, or you might have thought back to our 4, and then we have one more to make 5, right? Okay. How many here? Just 2, right? 1, 2. Here's our last one. How many there? Did you say 6? You would be right. I always see this 6 as a 3 and a 3. That's a real easy, clear way to see it. So that's a little warm up for now. We're going to do a little investigation with dominoes. Okay, so just got a bunch of dominoes here. Dominoes, you'll notice, have dot patterns. They have a pair of dot patterns too that come together to give us a new number or a sum, as Mrs. Obenshain talked about. So you might think about the 2 sides of the dominoes as our add-ins in dots, and then the total is our sum, and we're going to think a little bit more about that today. So what might be the first way, if we wanted to sort these out, what are some ways we might sort them? The first way might just be thinking about which seem to have a lot and which seem to have not so many. So, right? Greater than and less than. So let's pull over some that look like they have a larger amount than others, right? We know this one doesn't have too many, just 1 and 1. 6, 6 and 1, 4 and 2, 3 and 3. Those are greater than these over here, aren't they? Okay, so we've kind of sorted them into 2 piles or 2 groups. All of the dominoes in this pile have a greater number of dots than the dominoes in this pile. What would be another way that we could sort these? Do you notice any patterns that you're familiar with? We've been talking a lot about different ways to make numbers. So I see some patterns that make 5. Do you see any dominoes that make 5? Let's see. 1 and 4 makes 5, doesn't it? What else do we have that makes 5? Oh. 2 and 3, does that work? 2, 3, that makes 5. Any others that make 5? Am I missing missing a domino? No, that couldn't be, could it? Okay, here's 2 ways to make 5. What are some other patterns you might be familiar with we've been talking about? Maybe doubles, right? Do you see some doubles? I see 1 plus 1, that's a double. And what does that make? 2, right? I see 3 plus 3. We talked about that looking at our dot patterns. What's 3 plus 3 make? 6, doesn't it? And we've also got 2 plus 2. What does that give us? Gives us 4, right? So those are another few ways we could look at these. So I'm thinking, though, today, let's arrange these by total or sum. So when you look at our dominoes, which domino has the least dots on it? The least number of dots. It's going to be this guy, right? 1 plus 1. So we know then that we'll start with 2. Yeah? Are there any other dominoes that equal 2? I don't see any. Let's go ahead and look then for dominoes that total to 3. What do you think? Here's 1, right? 1 plus 2, that gives us 3. Do we have any others that give us 3? I don't see any. So let's go to 4, shall we? What are some dominoes that total 4 for us? I see 1 right away because it's kind of sticking off on the end. 1 plus 3, does that give us 4? It sure does. Do we have any others that give us 4? I see a doubles pattern that equals 4. What double makes 4? 2 and 2, right? There we go. 2 and 2 gives us 4. We see any others that equal 4? I don't think so. Let's try 5. Oh, here's 1 right away, right? 4 and 1 more is going to give us 5. What others do you see? I see 1 right next to it. 2 and 3 will give us 5. Any others? No. All right. Let's look at these last 3. What do you notice about them? 3 and 3, we start with a double. What's 3 and 3? It's 6. So that's going to be the next number we're looking for. 3 and 3 gives us 6. Every one of these last 3 gives us 6. 5 and 1 gives us 6. And 2 and 4 also gives us 6, right? 3 and 3, 5 and 1, 2 and 4 all give us 6. So now we've got them arranged by total or sum. And I want to rearrange all of these again. I want to sort them again. And you know what I want to do? I want to always put the larger number on top. Yeah, put the larger number on top. Will you check me? Do I have the larger number on top for each of our dominoes? No, I don't, do I? Which one doesn't have the larger number on top? Good call. It's the domino for 3. We need to put the 2 on top, don't we? I'm going to sort these just one more time. I'm going to look at the numbers going across the top. And for each group, I want to put them so we're going from the smaller to the larger. So I'm going to switch my 4 around. Now we have 2, 3. I'm going to switch my 5 around. Now we have 3, 4 on the top. And I'm going to switch my 6 around. This one's already in the order I want it. I just need to change these 2. So the 4 here comes before the 5. All right, so what do we notice when we look at our dominoes in this order? What's happening to the number of dots on the top for each group? They're growing, aren't they? We have 1 dot, 2 dots, 2 dots, 3 dots, 3 dots, 4 dots, and then 3, 4, 5. So they're going up in order. We're getting a greater number of dots on the top for each domino in the group. What's happening to the number of dots on the bottom, do you notice, for each sum or number? They're getting smaller, aren't they? So we have still 1 and 1 here. For 4, 2 and 1. Went down 1 from 2 to 1. For 5, 2, going down to 1 again. And for 6, we have 3, 2, 1. Why does that happen? Let's record some number sentences that might help us to think about why. Okay. So, we have for 2, right? We have 1 plus 1. For 3, we have 2 plus 1. For 4, we have 2 of them, don't we? 2 plus 2, and then we have 3 plus 1. For 5, our domino shows 3 plus 2 and 4 plus 1. And then for 6, our dominoes are showing 3 ways, right? 3 plus 3, 4 plus 2, and 5 plus 1. I'm going to circle our totals or sums so they pop out at us. So, when our first addend is greater than the second addend, why do the numbers go down in our pattern? Why is that happening? You know what? We can revisit our 5 frame to help us think about that. So, if we think about some ways of making 5, which we've been talking about, what if you start, let's think about 4 and 1. So, if your first addend is 4, like we've shown here, you only need 1 more to get to 5 because you're starting with a larger or greater addend. But what if we flipped that around and made it 1 plus 4? Well, if you're only starting with 1, then you need to add 4 more to get to 5. And so this goes along with thinking about different ways to make numbers and different ways that addends work together. We can change the order of the numbers around and still get our same sum, right? If we start with the larger addend, we don't have as far to go to get to our total. If we start with the smaller addend, we have to add more on. So dominoes are fun to play with in lots of ways and explore. If you have some dominoes at home, you should get them out and just pull them out, see what you have, see the different ways you can sort them, and maybe even play dominoes. All right, we're going to turn it back over to Mrs. Obenshain.
All right, we're going to be reading a story, actually 2 stories, and talking about how they relate. And what I think I might do, we're also going to be building some ideas from the story. I'm just going to move these out of the way so that they're not distracting for us. All right. So I've got 2 books today, like I said, and they're kind of related. I think you're going to see that. So this one is called The Mission of Addition, and it was written by Brian P. Cleary and illustrated by Brian Gable and published by Scholastic Books. We have another book also written by the same gentleman and illustrated and published by the same folks too. But we'll get to that one in a minute. So this one's called The Mission of Addition. It kind of goes really well with what you were just talking about. Okay, adding is growing the total of things, like bubbles in a bathtub, or bright, shiny rings. Six yellow buses were parked in a line. 3 pulled behind them, and then there were 9. So if we had 6 buses, I'm going to build these up here because I want you to be able to see how things are growing when we're adding, right? They said here on the very first page, adding is growing the total of things. So that means we're going to have more when we add. Okay, so here's our 6 buses. And then they said that there were 3 more that came. And there's our 3 more. Can you see how it's getting bigger? It's growing. Along came 4 more, and that made 13. So let me get 4 more. Looky there. It's gotten bigger, hasn't it? So we had 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If you got that right, you're an adding machine. To add is to make bigger the total number, whatever you are counting up. The total number of whatever you are counting up. Like baseballs in a glove, if you have, so we're going to start over again, 7 batters plus 2 more, oh, that gives us 9 again like we had before. That would make 9 when they're all added. The number just gets bigger with each one who's batted. No amount gets smaller when you're working with addition. The numbers climb from low to high because that's addition's mission. The Johnsons had 1 babysitter. All right, we're going to start with 1 and see how many babysitters we're adding. The Johnsons had 1 babysitter. Gretchen was her name. She cried, "Help!" So number 2, Miss Higginbottom came. So now we've got another one. 3rd came Miss Clinklehorn. 4th was Mrs. Stein. So far, this made 4 who tried to keep them all in line. 5th was Caitlin McNamee, and 6th was Mr. Lee. Oh, it's growing. We have quite a few babysitters for just 3 kids, don't we? 6 and 4 more totaled 10 in all. So I'm going to put 4 more to watch that crew of 3. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 10 babysitters so far. Or we could have started with the 6 that we already had and then just counted up. 7, 8, 9, 10. You see, to add means to increase. It's a way of showing more, whether counting babysitters or bread crusts on the floor. Plus can be used just like and. It helps us when we count, combining all the numbers till we get the full amount. This is a plus sign up here. It's the sign we use when we're doing addition. 6 plus 8 equals 14. Equals can be used like is or totals or even makes. It doesn't matter if you're adding friends or birthday cakes. So if a hen lays 7 eggs plus 3 plus 4 plus 10, that total equals 24 and 1 exhausted hen. So let's see. This we know was 6, so I'll put 1 more to get that first 7. And then 3 more. And then 4 more. And then 10, and these are arranged in groups of 5, so I know 2 of these is going to be 10. Wow, you could really see when we had that many add-ins that our number got really big. It was really growing, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's what they said, it equaled 24. In counting the musicians in a marching band at school, you add up all the players from each group. Just look, it's cool. 9 are playing trumpet, plus 3 are on the trombone, 2 more jam on flugelhorn, and 6 on saxophone. Okay, so let's see. This was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 to start with. And then they said plus 3, right? I'll take one of those off. There's 3 more. And then 2 more. And then 6 more. That's quite a lot. We can see that adding is making our number grow. So 9 plus 3 plus 2 plus 6, that equals 20 horns. But wait. When you add 8 bass drummers in, that equals 28. So here is 8 more. I think that's our biggest number yet that we've gotten from adding. Look at all those cubes up there. You can see how it grew. So when it comes to counting, don't worry, fret, or fuss. You'll find that knowing how to add is very much a plus. So what is addition? Do you know? So what do you think? What do you decide addition is after reading that book? It's when we add some numbers of items together and we get more, a larger number, right? So with that in mind, I'm going to have you think about what the name of my next book is. Guess what this one's called? The Action of Subtraction. So we had the mission of addition, which was to make numbers larger, to grow the numbers. And now we have the action of subtraction, also written by Brian Cleary, illustrated by Brian Gable, and published by Scholastic. Subtraction is an action that will make your total less. Whether ice cream scoops or hula hoops, or inches from a dress. So it's going to make our total less. That's kind of the opposite of addition, isn't it? Addition makes our total more. Whatever you are counting, it will take away a part and leave you then with not as much as you had at the start. If 7 angry bulldogs were barking at your door, a kitten could scare 3 away, and then you'd be left with 4. I'm not sure if a kitten would scare away bulldogs, but it's kind of a funny idea. So if we had 7 bulldogs, and a kitten came and scared away 3 of them, look, I can tell that that's 3 right away because it's 2 and 1, which you just talked about with dominoes. It would leave 4, right? It got less. We went from more to less with subtracting. And what if 13 hornets had nested in your tree? If 10 of them would just buzz off, then you'd have only 3. So let's see. If we have 13 hornets, I'm going to use these 3 that are coming apart. So 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 hornets. And these 10 buzz off, then that means we would only have 3. Is it less again? It is. We must have subtracted, because when we're taking away or minusing, then we get less. Do you see what subtraction does? It changes the amount. You'll wind up with fewer when you do your final count. Minus means to take away from some numbers from the whole. Like if you had 10 bowling balls 10 bowling pins, not the balls. These are the pins. That's the ball. And grabbed a ball to roll, let's say you knocked down 8 with the first ball that you threw. Then 2 would still be standing because 10 minus 8 is 2. So let's see, if we have 10 and we take away 8 of them, so 5, 6, 7, 8, we're going to be left with 2, a smaller amount. Your second ball knocks 2 more down. You did it. You're the hero. Now all the pins are down because 2 minus 2 equals 0. Exactly. In this case, it means equals or totals just the same. That sign means matching value in a problem or a game. They're talking about this equal sign right here. Like if you had 3 timeouts left and somehow lost your shoe, your coach would have to call 1 and you'd be left with 2. 3 was what you started with, then you subtracted 1. That would equal 2 more left before the game was done. So if we had 3 and you had to call a timeout, there'd be 2 left. And we can also count backwards when we're doing subtraction. 3, and if I count backwards from 3, now there's 2. If Jen had 12 stuffed animals and she gave 2 to Sally, then 5 more went to Mary Kate, here's how you do that tally. You start with 12. Okay, so we're going to start with 12. 5 and 5 makes 10, and 2 more is 12. Take 2 away, so 12 minus 2 is how many? 10, right? 5 and 5 is 10. And if we counted backwards to do that, we could figure that out that way too, right? 12, 11, 10. Subtract the 5 for Mary Kate, and that leaves 5 for Jen. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and that leaves 5. Whenever we subtract things, it can make us sad or glad, depending on whatever there is less of, good or bad. Like fewer school days due to snow and less time with the dentist. Would that make you glad or sad? Not as much discomfort since the doctor fixed your bent wrist. That might be good. A smaller plate of vegetables, a shorter list of chores, less time with your homework, and not quite so many snores. See, the numbers move toward 0 with a shrinking kind of action, and all of this is possible because we have subtraction. So what is subtraction? Do you know? So what would you say subtraction is? It's when we take items away or objects away and the numbers get smaller. It's kind of the opposite of addition, right? All righty, we'll move these kind of out of our way. And now Miss Carnes has a game for us.
Okay. Hello, hello. Kiddos, we're gonna change our screen around. I think we're getting it. Okay. All right. Okay. So, before we play our game together, we're going to take a look at some frames that have different kinds of patterns on them. Okay? These are patterns for doubles. Let's take a look. How many dots did you see on that frame? There's 2, right? We see the 2 on the doubles frame as 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom. Right? If we double our 1, we get 2. If we were looking at our other kinds of frames that Mrs. Obenshane was showing us earlier, we call those our 5+ kinds of frames. So if we had 2 on a 5+ kind of frame, it would look like 1, 2 dots on the top, right? And no other dots. Let's look at some other doubles patterns on our frame, okay? How many dots do you see? That one is easy to know, isn't it? Because the frame is full, so we know it has 10. We could also think about it as a double of 5. 5 on the top and 5 on the bottom, and that gives us 10. How many dots now? How many did you see on the top? Did you see 3? And then we doubled, so there were 3 on the bottom. How many is that? It's 6, isn't it? 3 and 3 is 6. Okay. How about this one? How many dots do you see? Did you see 4? The doubles pattern on the frame for 4 looks a lot like the regular dot pattern on dice for 4, doesn't it? We can see the 2 and 2. Here we might think about 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom when we're looking at the frame. Just one more, ready? How many dots do you see? How many were on the top? You might think about how many were missing as well to help you, right? Did you say 4 on the top? Yeah, because we're missing 1 here, and then another 4 on the bottom. And what does that give us? 4 and 4. Gives us 8, doesn't it? We're going to record some of these. Thank you so much. We're going to use our drop-down notation. So how did we make 2 as a double? It was 1 plus 1, wasn't it? How about 4? 4 as a double had the add-ins of 2 plus 2, gave us 4. How about to make 6 out of doubles? You can use your fingers to help you too. Our add-ins for doubling to make 6 would be 3 plus 3, right? Then we have 8. How do we make 8 as a double? 4 plus 4. We had 10, which looked really familiar on the frame. And now we can think about it as a double as well. 5 on the top plus 5 on the bottom. And then I have maybe a tricky one for you. What do you think we'd get if we doubled the 6? Can you use the frame to help you think about what that might be? So if we had 6 plus 6, this time we're going to start with our add-ins. 6 plus 6, what would that give us? You don't have enough fingers to work it out, but we can imagine, right? 4 more here, and then we need 2 more. So that would give us a full frame plus 2. What does that give us? Gives us 12. These are the doubles we'll be working with in our game. And I'm going to put up a blank frame. Oh, we don't have any tape. I think it might just stick. We'll try it to help you to think about making doubles. And now we're ready to play. So we played Great Race together before. So this one is Great Race for making doubles. You need a 1 through 6 die or a special spinner, and we have both of those.
The pen is up there.
Thank you. That's just what I was looking for. Would you like to go first today, Mrs. Obenshane?
Sure. All right, so I'm going to spin, and then I'm going to double that number?
Yes. Whatever number you get, you double it.
Ah, I got 5. So 5 and 5 is how much? It's 10, right. So I'm going to come over here to the one that's labeled 10, and I'm going to mark out a box. I remember this game. We've played it before.
We did play this game before. Okay. I'm going to use the 1 through 6 die. I got a 6, so I have to double the 6. I'm so glad we went over that one because it could be tricky, right? What did we figure out for doubling 6? Gave us 12, didn't it? Oh, we started off with some big numbers today, big sums.
I spun a 1, so 1 and 1 is 2.
And I get a 3. We can use fingers to help us with that if we needed to, right? 3 and 3, that's 6.
I got a 6, like Miss Carnes, so I already remember that that was 12. Maybe the 12 will be the winner today.
Ooh. This time I rolled a 4. So here's my 4. Can you picture if I had 4 more over here? How many would that be? Yep, it's 8. 8 is in the game.
I rolled a 3, so 3 and 3 is 6.
I rolled a 4 again. Do you remember 4 plus 4? Yep, it's 8.
I rolled 4 also. 4 plus 4 is 8. Ooh, maybe 8 will be the winner.
8 is in the lead, but not for long because I rolled a 6. So what's that again? 6 plus 6? 5 plus 5 is 10. So 6 plus 6, 2 more than that, right? 12.
I wonder what we would have to roll to get a 4. Oh, I could look over here. Ah, I have to roll a 2. I'm going to see if I can get a 2. I feel bad for the 4. Nope, I got a 6 again.
Wow.
Might just be that 12 is our winner this time.
That's kind of good because that might be a harder one to remember.
Yeah.
6 plus 6.
6 plus 6.
I got a 3 this time. So what's 3 plus 3? Think about our dot patterns on dice. 6.
Okay, let's see. A 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Still haven't rolled a 2 though.
Another 6. Oh my goodness. And do you know what that means?
It's almost.
Almost. It means 12 is almost the winner. Just needs to get to the center.
Which it is, like, because 12, right, it was the only one we can't make on our fingers. We have to kind of pretend like we'd have 2 more fingers. It's a good one to practice. 5 plus 5.
Okay, let's see. I get a 1. 1 and 1 more. That gives us 2, doesn't it?
I finally rolled a 2, or spun a 2. I've been waiting for that one. I feel much better that now 4 gets to get in the game, at least,
yes.
even if it isn't the winner.
Yes. Okay. And Miss Carnes rolled a 4. Let's look at our drop down for that. 4 plus 4, what does that equal? It makes 8.
I got a 3, so 3 plus 3 is 6. I don't know. This is going to be a really close game.
Okay, I rolled a 3. Again, we can think about our dice dot patterns. 3 and 3 gives us that pattern for 6.
Oh, I rolled a 5, so 5 and 5 is 10.
I also rolled a 5. Think about that full 10 frame. 5 on the top, 5 on the bottom. We have 10 altogether.
Guess what I rolled? A 6. 6 plus 6 is 12, so 12 is the winner.
Woohoo! And we got lots of chances to practice 6 plus 6, so that's great. So kiddos, we're so glad that you were here with us again this morning. We talked about lots of different things. We did a lot of things with thinking about putting numbers together and different ways to make other numbers with those. And we learned from Mrs. Obenshane's book that that is what adding is all about, putting numbers together to get a larger number or a sum. Add-ins together make the total that's a sum. We looked at our calendar and ways to make 24 and represent that. We reviewed our frames. We read another book that was all about the opposite of addition, the action of subtraction. It's taking away. We worked with doubles and played our game. We'll hope you'll play at home. We did some work with dominoes. Maybe you can play with those at home. We thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you again soon.
See you tomorrow.